Fanbase, the Series A raised, raised about $17 million to really expand the social media app. Lots has been going on. And guess what? Just one day left before the crowdfund ends. Joining us right now is the founder, Isaac Hayes III. Isaac, glad to have you here. So the goal was 17 million. I saw the other day you had a post. Where are you at now? Is it 15 million or have you raised more?
15.5. We've raised about $331,000 just today.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, it's we got one day left.
And the thing that you've constantly talked about, and we talk about this all the time, if we talk about stock market, when we look at these individuals who invest in companies, first of all, people don't realize when you're in the stock market, that company goes public. So you've already had people who invested early, and then when it goes public, if it blows up, they make a whole lot of money. There was an example you used of a guy who invested, what was it, $5,000 in Uber or something like that?
Yeah, $5,000. Orrin Michaels put $5,000 into Uber in 2010, and in 2019, when the company went public, his $5,000 was worth $24 million.
And so the reality is, what often happens is that as African Americans, I'm sitting here, iPad, iPhone. I'm looking at charger, iWatch, all this sort of stuff like this. I'm looking at DJI equipment. Well, guess what? What happens is we are early adopters. We use all this stuff, but we are never the ones making money as equity owners. We are consumers of products.
Absolutely. And when it comes to things like social media, we are the number one consumer of a lot of these products, and we push these platforms to trillion-dollar status. You know, Facebook is right now, Meta is a $1.8 trillion company with a T, like with $1 trillion in 20 years. It's become a $1.8 trillion company, largely because of the innovation and talent and creativity of young people and Black culture primarily. But no one ever really got the call to invest in Facebook in 2004, right? The 2004 Facebook crowd was Peter Thiel, who owns Palantir and who's a big Trump supporter. And, you know, those guys are the ones that are worth billions of dollars, 21 years later. And so with Fanbase, I wanted to build an infrastructure just as infant as Facebook, but then scale it to a multi-billion-dollar company. But this time, the general public can have an opportunity to invest in it, right? So what Peter Thiel has done with his billions is take his money and work against the benefit of Black people on a platform that Black people help build. So what really makes a social media platform valuable are the users. And so the technology is really something that takes capital to build, but we are the essence and we are the soul of social media. And so if we can do it on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, we can do it on Fanbase. But before we do, let's invest and own that platform. So then when we go public or we get acquired, then we have multiple Peter Thiels that are involved but they're Black people. They're people that believed in Fanbase before everybody else. They're investors that came in early, even at the small amount, the minimum amount of this round of $399. If you think about Fanbase going from a $160 million company, which it is now, which is amazing, but just say $160 billion, which is still 10 times less, like I said, than what Meta is worth now, 10 times less, 5 times less of what Instagram is worth now. That's still 1,000x return, right? So that's in theory or in possibility. Someone putting $399 into an investment a day, and 6-7 years from now, being able to make $399,000 off their investment, and we can do that. We have the ability to do that. We got AI technology. We have coding involved, like that we can use the AI. We built a brand new algorithm. So this is the time when all these apps have spent the last year telling Black people that we don't want you. We don't want DEI. We're ending all our initiatives. Cool. End them. We're building microdramas. We're building a social media platform for the entire world to use, and it will be diverse and equitable and inclusive all at once.
We also want people to download the app, so explain to people exactly what Fanbase does.
So Fanbase is social media through the lens of Black ownership. And the reason why I say that is important is because we've maxed out on features. I don't think that we're going to get any new features. I don't think another social media platform is going to come out and innovate video, audio, or photos, right? We maxed out on those. What the difference is monetization and ownership. So Fanbase allows anybody that uses the platform the same way you would use Instagram or TikTok or YouTube to have subscribers from day one, still free to use, and people can tip you for your content. So the videos and the photos that you post on Instagram, on Fanbase, you can make 20 cents, 30 cents, $1, $5, as much as people feel like they want to give you for the content that you post. And then, again, people owning the platform. It's a social media platform. And so there's always going to be new apps. We've seen pretty much the death of Twitter the last, few years with Elon Musk taking over X. And we're seeing the transition of TikTok become the TikTok of True Social with Trump and his individuals acquiring that platform. So we know it's about to happen over there. So we're going to need new spaces. We're going to need new platforms. And so if we're going to need new ones, this time, let it be owned by the users, and then make sure that Black people have a space of equitable visibility in the platform, because the algorithm is not going to work against Black people on Fanbase. It's going to work on behalf of all people, and that's what doesn't even exist on social right now.
Questions from the panelists. Mustafa, you first.
Isaac, it's good to see you. If we look back 5 years, or, we go 5 years into the future and take a look at Fanbase, what do you hope is accomplished in that moment?
I hope in 5 years, Fanbase has completely absorbed all media. And what I mean by that is I hope in 5 years that you actually have to log into your Netflix account, or you can log into your Netflix account through Fanbase. You can log into to experience content through Fanbase, but by doing so, you'll be able to experience content in a different way. Audio rooms, clipping, sharing, DMing, all these other things that you can do, because social media is the new television. And so I want us to take advantage of the fact that if you don't think that social media is the new television, you're sadly mistaken. Everybody is going to be watching all the content. I'm talking about the stuff that you're looking at on Disney Plus and Netflix and Hulu and DirecTV. All of that stuff is going to be watched and absorbed and viewed inside of a large community, a large social network. And so that's what I see the vision for Fanbase being.
Randy?
Good to see you, brother. It's good to see you, brother. I'd like to say that I am an early investor in Fanbase. Not big,
Absolutely.
but there. And I'm also a content creator and have an account on Fanbase. So I believe very much in what you're doing. What I'd like to ask you is, why do you think some people are hesitant to participate in Fanbase? Do you think that there is an issue with our minds being colonized that we don't quite easily adopt when one of our own does something big and different?
No, I think it's a combination of capital and dopamine, right? Like the platforms like Meta and TikTok have spent an enormous amount of research understanding what triggers the mind to be excited and want to stay on the platform, and that's visibility and views. And so one of the things that people say when they first get on Fanbase is, "Oh my God, I'm not getting the same views that I get on Instagram or TikTok." And I've said, "Yeah, of course, because those platforms are multi-billion-dollar platforms that sink a lot of money and technology into hooking you into using the platform." And so then on the investment side, we've never been here before. Like I said, I ask anybody to count on one hand, count on three fingers. You got Black Planet, you got Fanbase. Name another one. Name another like Black-founded social media platform that has come anywhere close to Fanbase or Black Planet in 25 years. And so we've never been here before. So people are also worried about the unknown. I think what's going to happen, though, is that people are going to be forced to move to other platforms simply by the way that they're going to be treated. And some people will still remain on platforms like TikTok. But I think that people are going to be get a rude awakening come 2026 about the plans of the current administration and the people that acquired TikTok of what they want to do with it. And this is the perfect time. Like, this is the time to, once again, these companies have spent the last year saying, we don't want diversity, we don't want equity, we don't want inclusion. What they count on is somebody not building an infrastructure that can absorb all that diversity and accept all that equity, and include all that inclusion into the product. And that's what Fanbase does. They're counting on no one to come to a platform like Fanbase, and they didn't count on me to build something like Fanbase. And so that's going to be the big surprise for them in 2026 is, because when the micro dramas take off, when the black microdramas start going crazy, all those same companies are gonna come try and lure all of us back. They're gonna say, hey, we want diverse microdramas, we want diversity, we want equity. Yeah, because there's millions and billions of dollars behind it. And when you see how much money you're losing, and people are using a platform like Fanbase, and advertisers are coming to Fanbase because they want to reach black audiences, they want to reach diverse audiences, then the whole conversation is going to switch, because money, this is all about money to a lot of these major corporations. But this time, the money's going into the hands of the users and the investors.
Well, and as Jeff Carr said here, the black people bring your eyeballs home. And the reality is we make these platforms massively rich by virtue of our eyeballs and our creativity. So how about we do it on a platform that is not just only for us? Anybody can join a fan base, but if we invest in it, we can actually build it up ourselves with all of our amazing and incredible talent. Joe, I'm sorry, Joe, you haven't asked the question, right?
Yeah, no, I
Go.
haven't. Thank you. Brother Hayes, good to see you. Blessings. Let us know what someone who may not have looked at fan base in the last year or so, what can they see now that they didn't see this time last year?
You can see we built a brand new algorithm that we've been working on since July. We just rebuilt content migration. So when you go to Fanbase, it's easier to migrate your content from Instagram and TikTok over to the platform. What you cannot see on the back end is the talent we've been able to hire. It costs a lot of money to hire really great talent.
Okay,
right?
hold on, stop right there. I need you to repeat that again, because what I need people to understand, the person who is sitting here watching, and there's a whole bunch of Negroes who've been shitting on Fanbase, bitching about stuff, don't understand that that Meta, that Twitter, that Instagram, all these platforms, they put in 2, 3, 4, 500, 700 $1 million, $1 billion into staff, engineers, all that sort of stuff. And so it's a whole bunch of us expect a black-owned platform to operate just like those platforms, and don't nobody want to ask, well, what was the level of investment that went into it? Meta was hiring engineers from Google. Google hiring engineers from Apple. All this sort of stuff like this here. And as I always say on this show, if y'all want quality, it costs money. It don't just happen just because. Now go ahead.
Yeah, we've been able to actually hire some talent from Meta. You know, we have a product owner that's part of the company from Meta. I have 2 amazing advisors that used to work at Meta, senior level black executives that were at Meta and Snapchat. And so we've been able to get better because those have led to us finding a young black man who's going for his doctorate in mathematics. Shout out to Quincy, who helped train our algorithm. So you have a young black man understanding that as we train an algorithm to recognize, images and faces and features, that it's not biased against black people, right? And all these things matter. Like, these are really, really important things, and they don't understand that. But Roland, you said something so important, and you just kind of glossed over it. But we
I ain't glossed over it.
Hold on. No, listen. This is what you said. You said, think about this. Every time black people download and use applications that are owned by white or Asian people and make them the most successful companies in the world, and on the back end, right, somebody white or Asian owns those companies. They sit on the cap table. And my point is this, this time, I guarantee you, when our talent, wherever our energy, wherever our culture, wherever our talent is, those people will come. So this time, when they come to Fanbase, right, the people that own Fanbase look like us, right? They look like us. They talk like us. They sound like us, right? And they believe like we believe. And they will use those products the same way. You're telling me right now that if the NBA had all black owners, that they still wouldn't come see black people play basketball? No, they wouldn't. They would absolutely still come. But the problem is that ownership piece is so hard to get to in the very, very beginning. You have to think about that. You have to strategize about that. You have to say, before I leap, I have to look and plan. And so before we blow up another social media platform, I was like, this time I'm going to build something. Before we blow another one up, if we're going to blow anything up, we're going to blow up our own stuff. And so this has been a really, a calling on my life, a real big challenge. I'm really happy about what I've been able to accomplish. It's purpose-driven. There's a lot of energy and effort that goes into the entire team that helps build a platform like this. And the investment side just brings it all the way home. I think, people never get an opportunity to invest in startups like this. But I promise you, between now and the rest of the year, you will hear people running up parlays on Prize Picks and talk about playing the lottery that's at $1 billion and going to Vegas and gamble. And they want you to do that. They put primarily black faces in front of these commercials that tell you to gamble. I'm no shade to anybody that gets paid to advertise to gamble, but every time I see a commercial about gambling, I see Kevin Hart, LeBron James, Jamie Foxx, Drewski, Joe Budden, all in beast mode. I see all black faces telling you, no, go over here. Spend your money over here. Parlay, gamble, do all the blue collar gambling, but leave the white collar gambling, which is investing. Leave the white collar gambling to us. Let us invest in the NVIDIAs and the Apples and the Microsofts. Those are the things that I'm talking about.
Well, and the thing that I'll say when I make that point, and I've said this numerous times, that black people, we are great at making non-black people rich. I mean, our track record is amazing. Whether we're talking Hollywood, whether we're talking music, whether we're talking anything. And what I need our folks to understand, is that if you use the Fanbase app, you can post photos, you can post videos, you can have subscriptions, you can make money, you can do all those different things. You've got audio rooms, you can live stream. And again, the zeal by which we jumped on Clubhouse during COVID that shot that app to a $4 billion valuation, how we make TikTok sexy and Instagram sexy and Facebook and Twitter, and not only that, when it was, you made this point here and it was stunning. These black targeted and so-called black-owned outlets, when they were talking about banning TikTok, it was stunning to watch these black outlets touting other apps out of China and other places that they ain't never heard, but they actually saw it on some white site and totally ignoring Fanbase as if Fanbase didn't even exist.
Yeah, I'm
not even going to name the app, but I just need our people to understand that there were black outlets touting these other apps to download if they shut down TikTok, and we're totally ignoring Fanbase and some of these sites and platforms located right there in Atlanta where Fanbase is based.
Yeah, I think, again, we have a problem enriching ourselves beyond ourselves, but I do want to say something about black people have an amazing track record of blowing up other businesses. Let's not forget that there has been a systemic barrier in people getting funding, especially like founders like me, of being able to get funding to be able to build our businesses. Like, there are companies that have been given hundreds of millions of dollars to
I got it.
forward.
But here's why I make that point. I made that point for a very. I agree with that, but that's not why I made the point. Because what I need our people to understand, I need people who are watching and listening to really understand the point I'm about to make. And I'm gonna go back to our first year when we launched this show. I was at the National Underground Railroad Freedom Center. And it was a panel that Procter & Gamble was sponsoring. It was the day before the Cincinnati Music Festival. And you had, it was a brother who was sitting next to me. Kid Capri was to my right. And the brother who was a business owner in Cincinnati, this is what he said. He said, y'all, we really got to support Roland Martin Unfiltered. He said, now look, it's not going to look as good as CNN. And I stopped. I said, the fuck is not? That's literally what I said. I stopped him. He's like, no, bro. I understand. I said, no. I want you to understand what you just did. You just literally spoke second class. I said, I've got 4K cameras in my studio. I said, I've got lighting. I've got this. I said, now, to your point, I don't do $1 billion in profit like CNN. I said, but if you articulate to the public that I don't look as good, you are speaking second-class status into existence. It's no different than I had a brother, Isaac, when I was at TV One. A brother said to me, Roland, when are you going to get you a show? I said,
I know this story.
I said, I'm confused. I got a daily show. He said, no. I know about your TV One show, but I mean a real show. He said, like on CNN or MSNBC. Now, I wanted to cuss his ass out, but I froze and I said, brother, let me ask you a question. I said, are you aware that when what was his name? He was the anchor at NBC News, not Peter, Williams. Y'all know who was it? Brian Williams. I said, are y'all aware that brother, are you aware that when Brian Williams comes to DC to do NBC Nightly News, he sits in the same chair that I sit in? He was like, I'm confused. I said, do you know there's a plexiglass table that's right next to the chair? And there's a bristle brush on top, and there's a brush for white people's hair on the bottom. He looked at me like I was crazy. I said, you didn't realize that the set, the backdrop, the cameras, I said that when he's here, they send it down the fiber optic line to New York. But when I host the show, we send it down to Denver. And he's like, I don't understand. I said, bruh, we contract the studio from NBC News Channel. I said, so you just said I don't have a real show when I'm literally using the exact same studio as NBC. And the brother just froze. And that's part of the issue here, Isaac, that there are black people who have hated on you and the app. Ain't got this, ain't got that. It don't have this. Oh, this functionality, this ain't working. Without realizing, for a long time, Twitter had bugs, Facebook had bugs. Twitter still got bugs. Twitter had bugs, Facebook had bugs. Instagram didn't always have 10-minute videos. I remember it was a thing. It was a big thing when Instagram went to 10 seconds or 15 seconds. Those things are a function of money, growth. Money and growth allows you to have more growth, to invest in the product, to make it better, to make it faster, to make it more efficient. That's how this thing works. I literally just okayed today $175,000 in expenses on camera and audio gear. Guess what? I couldn't do that when I launched in 2018. That's what money and growth does.
Absolutely. You know, what's interesting is that what makes this challenging is that our floor is everybody else's ceiling. So I have to start where Instagram is today. Not Instagram. I can't start where Instagram was in 2010 with just photos and filters, right? I couldn't dare do that. I have to compete on a level with these other platforms of the products and services that they provide to consumers and users every day with 1/100,000th of the capital to be able to do so. But I dare anybody to download Fanbase, create a profile, and see like, dang, he's been able to do this with, look, $24 million, $23 million is nothing to scoff at. But when you think some of these platforms, if we mentioned the aforementioned Clubhouse, have raised $300 million, $350 million, and all they've given you is audio rooms that aren't monetized, that don't allow people to tip you, and they want you to pay to use the product. And we already have that in Fanbase, plus 5 other core functionalities and subscriptions and tipping and an algorithm. We're spinning yarn into gold over here. We're taking this capital that we raise and building a product that's competitive to the current platforms that we're able to pull people over and have them use Fanbase. And that's the thing. When I see that the innovation and some of the things that we build over at Fanbase wind up over on Clubhouse or wind up over on TikTok or wind up over on Instagram, I smile because I say, oh, money's the only thing that separates us. You need to take our ideas. You have the capital. And so that's what this raise is about. It's about funding the app to then scale it to another level and then raise $150 million and then build it better and then raise $600 million. And so my point is, with the people that that are on when we raised, this 17 million, that's a different valuation. The valuation of the company is going to continue and increase, which means the likelihood that you'll see a larger return for your investment in Series D is way different than Series A, and we haven't even really done a Series A. This is all still seed funding, but this is the longest seed round in history because we've had to go to the people, but I prefer we do it that way because this is our platform. This is the platform that belongs to the users. And something that I'll say to you, Roland, is it's funny how the world has shifted so much to where they're on your side of the fence now. Now everybody's coming to YouTube. Some people don't have a choice. Some people have to create YouTube channels now. They don't have network television to go to. They don't have terrestrial radio to go to. They have the infrastructures of platforms that they build, and you had the foresight to go independent long before anybody else did, and that's why I always give you your flowers because everybody makes it not sexy to go independent, right? Oh, yeah, man, it's not a good show, it's not whatever. But now, no, this is where everybody's headed regardless. You were just early. Fan base is just early. We are visionaries. We are people that see where things are going long before everybody else, and 99.9% of the people don't see it. So they'll mock it, they'll ridicule it, they'll make fun of it. But that 0.1%, they put their money down. They invest. They watch. They support. They tell others. And then before you know it, everybody's going to be like, I knew Roland was going to make it. I knew Fanbase was going to be a success. No, the people that know it are going to see it with their wallets. They're going to see, they're going to be able to talk that talk like, I invested. No, I was there in the beginning when it was lean and mean over there. And Isaac was doing these conversations with Roland. And now look where they are. And that's the point about investing early and being an early adopter, because people bite themselves. Everybody has their story. Man, I wish I would invest in Uber. Man, I wish I invested in Apple. Man, I would have invested in Facebook. Man, I wish I would have had a chance. This is your chance. So I want to hear anybody in the community talk about, man, how come you ain't let people invest in Fanbase? What about the people? The time is now. Like, this is, I'm looking at my watch. You got a little time left. When we hit $17 million, the race closes regardless. So no matter what amount of time that is left in this round, if we hit $17 million tonight, the race closes, right? And we, like I said, we raised in a day almost $335,000 just in today, right? And that's the day before. This is the day before the round is closing. So I tell people not to wait. Tell a friend. Make it Christmas gifts. Tell everybody that you know that we need to support and build, because in 2026, I'm taking no prisoners on the way that Black culture is handled and treated, because these apps have told everybody all year long, we don't want you. And we beg anyway. We don't want you on our apps, and we beg. And I have no time or no energy for any of that in 2026. So we on our own wave in 2026.
Indeed. All right, folks. So if you, first of all, download the app Fanbase. Go to the Apple Store, go to the Android Store, download it. But if you want more information on how to invest, and again, there was somebody, there's somebody out there, I didn't bring her name, and the problem is, y'all, I don't know how to reach her. She sent me a $399 check for Fanbase. Y'all, that's not how it works. You can't send me money. Okay, you can't do it. You got to go to startengine.com/fanbase. Startengine.com/fanbase. All the information is on there. It closes tomorrow. What time tomorrow? Is it midnight? Is it 5 p.m.? What's the time?
It's midnight. It's midnight West Coast time. So it's technically 3 a.m.
So 3 a.m. Eastern. So it really closes on December 18th at 3 a.m. Eastern. But West Coast time. So y'all, that's it. We've been talking about it. We've been running promos at the end of every single show. We talk about it for months now. So y'all can't say I ain't know. You can't say I ain't have a shot. Now what's the minimum investment, Isaac?
$399. Get your 60 shares.
All right. So again, y'all, and again, look. There's no guarantee that the investment will pay off. But here's what to Isaac's point: we spent a whole bunch of money on stuff that we have thrown out a year or two later. But the opportunity to be able to build and grow and see your investment pay off is critically important. And yes, a lot of us been buying lottery tickets. And listen, I don't spend no money at a casino. If I'm going to gamble, hell, I'm going to gamble on the golf course where I know what my skill set is. Hell, I know what I can do. Isaac, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Final point to the panel here, and Mustafa, I'm going to start with you. Man, I see this so often. So many black folks who literally will drag and crap on black-owned companies. It ain't this, ain't that. And man, we will give white folks shot after shot after shot. And folk got to understand, you cannot grow and get big if you don't have capital. I would say this here. When I sit in these meetings and they go, well, you know what we really need for black-owned companies? We really need more investment. I said, nah, I'm good. I said, I ain't got no debt. I don't need investment. I need contracts. If I get contracts, I can grow. I said, contract money is the same as investment money. Actually, it's better because you ain't giving up equity. But that's what we have to recognize, that we have to look at how business works, and the ability for us to be able to invest in something that will pay off bigger down the road is stuff that we normally never get a chance to do.
That's just real. And, I love that quote that says, bet on black. I mean, we bet on so many other things. I'm so blessed. My father, at a very young age with myself, taught me about how important it is to utilize the stock market, to utilize investment, to make sure that you have exponential growth that happens over time. And I'm just one who believes that if we say that we love the black community, then for those who have done the work, right, who built the infrastructure, who have thought critically about whatever the entity is, then we should support them. And by supporting them, one, we're doing the right thing and helping to uplift our communities, but we are also helping to build wealth inside of our communities and for our families. And we are always talking about the wealth gap that exists inside of our country. This is an opportunity through investment to actually make sure that we are shrinking that and one day eliminating that, and also making sure that generation upon generation of the folks who come after us have what they need to be able to continue to thrive, not survive, but to thrive. So, folks, do your due diligence, do your research, but make sure that you are investing inside of our community and our entities.
Randy?
The only way we get power is if we build up our economy. Many of us as black users on these social media sites and things, we're oftentimes being silenced. We get put in Facebook jail just by simply talking about our issues. Our voices are always diluted or completely silenced. And it would be power if we actually had when we have our own site, and someone who wasn't scared about us talking about our issues. Just like you have power, Roland, in owning your own network. You can cover the stories that matter to us. You don't have to worry about being silenced or our message diluted. So we absolutely need that power. And, we're so patient with other people. I think about how now we're spending $1,200 on an Apple iPhone, and we're getting updates every month because it has bugs in it. It doesn't quite work. We go to McDonald's and our order isn't right. So we need to understand and be patient as we do get capital and we build up and build our site and our products to be better and better.
This is your chance to own a piece of the creator economy. And with Start Engine, investing in Fanbase couldn't be easier. Just visit startengine.com/fanbase and click Get Equity. Opportunities like this don't stay open long, but your investment can help build a platform that pushes the future of social media forward.